All right, how is everybody doing on this Friday morning before Super Bowl weekend? I am absolutely ecstatic for the game, as I'm sure you guys are too. We got one good story, one bad story, though, that we're going to be talking about today in this video. The bad story, we'll probably get that out of the way first, being Cordarrelle Patterson did leave us for the New York Giants. It is... I don't even want to talk about it, frankly, in this video, but we have to, and it's just a really disappointing thing because Cordarrelle Patterson was probably the only position group I ever actually really liked. I mean, he was he was the only position group coach that I really wanted to keep because I know how important he is for the Minnesota Vikings and for that defensive line. But then we do have a good story. It's Cordarrelle Patterson potentially returning to the Minnesota Vikings. That's going to be talking about in the video today. Leave a like down below. It really helps me. And leave a comment on what you guys think about Cordarrelle. Do you think we can make him fit inside of our offense? And how are we going to replace Cordarrelle Patterson? Let me know down below, but let's talk about it. All right, so we did end up losing Cordarrelle Patterson to the New York Football Giants. And the immediate reaction I had was I was almost being selfish about it. I was like, God, how could Andre leave us? But he got a co-defensive coordinator job. And just, again, I always say this, the human side of me. I always say, like, you know, the human side of me when it comes to players getting injured. You know, I always feel bad for them. The human side for me on this situation was I'm proud and I'm happy for Cordarrelle Patterson because you look at his track record as being a defensive line coach in the NFL. He has consistently turned second, third rounders into elite starters. His number one case, and it really hurt me yesterday, was Danielle Hunter, who is my favorite Minnesota Viking. As you guys know that, he's my favorite player in the NFL. And Danielle posted a pretty tough photo of him and Andre hugging each other. And it was just one of those things where Andre really made Danielle who he was. And now that Andre's leaving, I mean, Danielle's going to still be Danielle, but it's just one of those things where we're losing almost like a locker room guy too. I always felt that Andre, he was the leader of the D-line. Like, even with Everson there, who was Everson Griffin, he was a great leader for the Vikings. I still felt like they just looked at Andre as like a father figure. I felt like he always had the D-line ramped up. And the amount of injuries this defensive line has gone through the past couple of seasons, and he's still been able to produce really, really strong defensive linemen. Hey, congrats to Cordarrelle Patterson. I think we should all have a feeling of just, I mean, I'm thankful that he spent his time in Minnesota, and I'm also happy for him, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do with Brian Daboll in New York. All right, Cordarrelle Patterson, one of my favorite Vikings of all time. Could he potentially be returning? So Cordarrelle is set to be a free agent this upcoming offseason, and a lot of Minnesota Vikings fans, and there's been a lot of speculation, could he return to Minnesota? And let me tell you something. I would absolutely love it if Cordarrelle came back. But the football, like the cap space GM side of me, I don't know how it will work. And like also the mouse to feed side of me is saying, how would that work? Because we're bringing back Irv Smith next year. We have Kene Nwangwu. We have Alexander Madison. We have guys coming back expecting more touches. And then also we still have the three-headed monster we have to feed in Dalvin Cook, Thielen, and Jefferson. I'm not even mentioning guys like KJ Osborne and Smith-Marsette. So listen, I would absolutely love if we could bring back Cordarrelle and somehow make it work. But if he is going to want $5, $6, $7 million a year, I just don't frankly think it will be worth it. And one of my favorite players for next year who I think is going to have a huge leap year, and I've been already saying this, is Irv Smith and Kene Nwangwu. I haven't really talked about Kene Nwangwu having a leap year, but Kene Nwangwu is kind of that gadget guy, just like Cordarrelle Patterson, except he's faster. Cordarrelle obviously runs him a little more downhill and physical, but the plays that Cordarrelle would be getting under the Kevin O'Connell offense, we already have some guys that can run that personnel. So yes, I would love to have Cordarrelle back. He's a playmaker. He's an incredible football player, but he deserves to get paid. He deserves to make more money than I think the Vikings would be, like, where the Vikings, yes, the Vikings would offer him, let's just say $10 million a year if we didn't have Thielen, if we didn't have Kene Nwangwu, Madison, and Cook. I mean, we legitimately got three running backs and a fullback and 3 to 4 wide receivers and a tight end who all are going to get touches. So, listen, if the offseason goes a certain way where we lose, I mean, I have no idea. If we lose a Thielen or a KJ, Smith-Marsette, or Madison, whatever, if we lose a guy and we need to bring in another weapon, Cordarrelle would be my number one option, mainly because of how versatile he is. I mean, he's an incredible football player. I just don't think it makes sense on the field. The cap space, the X's and O's part of it, He would be an incredible pickup just as a football player, but we just have so many mouths to feed on offense already. And plus he is a kind of gadget guy. And I think Kene Wangu is going to be the gadget guy for Kevin O'Connell. Let me know what you guys think down below though. Can we make Cordarrelle work back in the offense? That's what I mainly want to hear from you guys. Can Cordarrelle somehow come to Minnesota and be productive? Or do you think there's just too many offensive weapons already? Let me know what you guys think down below. Skol Vikes.